To get to Flipgrid, you would type flipgrid.com. So flipgrid.com, you will see this homepage here. If you have not created an account, make sure you do so and make sure that you use your MyLUSD information. So you would click here where it says educator sign up, and then you would get a pop-up. Well, mine already signed me in because I have an account. But you would get a pop-up asking you to select whether you have a Google account, which you do. So you want to make sure to select that. You will then get a pop-up asking you to authenticate your account. And then it'll ask you information such as the school you teach. It will ask you for your zip code. So for those of us who don't know it, Linwood's zip code is 90262. So you want to make sure you put all that information, and we hope you had a chance to do that before now because we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I logged in, as you can see. So this is your landing page for Flipgrid. When you are in, it tells you the amount of grids you have, which is, I guess it could equate to classrooms. So secondary teachers would probably have a grid for every period. Elementary teachers, it depends on how you want to organize your grid. Some teachers in elementary like to organize it by topic. So there'll be an ELA grid, a math grid, and so on and so forth. We're going to show you how to create one to ensure that you have the right parameters ready for your students to be able to access any topics that you create. So you want to go ahead and click on that Add New Grid button. So we want to name our grid. Elementary teachers, we recommend probably putting your last name and the school year. So 2019, 2020, it's up to you, whatever you name it. For those of you who are secondary, you may want to put 2019-20 English period 1. So it would be up to you. So I'm just going to call this 2019-20 demo. And here you have the different types available to you. And we want to go ahead and stick with school email since it does allow a Google login. And then here it has a flip code for your grid. They give you a default one, and you can customize it if you want, but you do not have to. If you don't like those numbers, make sure you go ahead and edit it. And it'll tell you if something is not available. So if I do this, it's going to tell me that that one is not available, which is why it had those numbers at the end. I think I had 777. And when you are ready, you get that screen available. You want to click next. Here, Flipgrid recognized that my organization is mylusd.org. So this means that it'll be open to any teacher or staff member who has that email. And to ensure that my students have access to this as well, I want to make sure to add the stu.mylusd.org email extension. So as you can see, I got this pop-up at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now this will be open for my students as well. If you do not add this STU option, your students will not be able to access it. I'm going to go ahead and click next. So our grid is ready. Now we don't want to go ahead and share the entire grid. What we're going to show you next is how to create topics. The topics are what you want to share with your students. So we're going to click Go to Your Grid. So here are my grid details. It gave me a default picture. It's showing me the title, today's date, the code, and I can add a co-pilot if I wish. So this is like adding a co-teacher, similar to having a co-teacher in Google Classroom. So if you team teach, you can add a co-pilot or a co-teacher by clicking there. So I'm going to go ahead and input Kathleen's email and click invite. She's going to receive an email from Flipgrid notifying her that I'm inviting her to be a co-pilot on this grid. So it's going to be up to her if she accepts or declines the invite. If she were to accept it, she'd be able to see everything that is in this section, and she could add topics to this grid as well. Let me back up real quickly. Here we have this little pencil icon. This allows you to edit it as necessary. So if you missed putting that STU email, this is where you could come in and add it. Here you can set how many or how often you want to receive notifications. You can receive it every day, weekly, every time you get a new video, or never. It's really up to you and your preferences how you want to set it. Here as well, allow students to receive email notifications when new topics are created. I'm going to just go ahead and leave that off. I wouldn't want students getting inundated with too many emails. This option allows students to download and share their videos. For example, if you do e-portfolios on Google Sites or something similar with your students and you want them to be able to upload evidence of their learning, you want to keep this on so they can download their own video and upload it to that e-portfolio. Now, I don't know if many people are doing that. If you're not, you can go ahead and just turn that off. We want to keep our grid active, meaning that we can continue to add topics and that it is accessible to our students. If we were to hide it, that means our students would not be able to access it. So you want to make sure you keep that active. And you also have the option for captions, which is great for accessibility. If you want to have those captions auto-generated, you want to toggle this on. So again, all these options are really up to you. It is up to you how you set it up, what your preferences are. Here we have the option to change the picture. As you can see, we had this zoom in of a leaf. So here they have different options that are available here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that little kitty cat with the glasses. And once I've made all my changes, I would click Update Grid here at the bottom. Here, you can also duplicate your grid. So I know earlier we mentioned that if you are a secondary teacher, you may want to have a different grid per period. Once you've set up everything on your grid on how you want it, you would click Duplicate Grid to create it for second period, and then again to create it for third period, and so on and so forth. This way you don't have to go through the minutia of having to edit the grid each and every time. So once you edit the one initial grid you created, you can just go ahead and duplicate from there. What Flipgrid does is they create a default topic for everyone. This Say Hello on Flipgrid is a topic that they've created. We don't have to use that, and we're actually not going to use it because we want to show you how to create one. To create a new topic, we want to click this Add New Topic. And then you have your topic essentials or your topic settings. You want to add a topic title. So here I'm going to call it Weekly Check-in, Week 1. Next, you have the option to select the recording time for your students. The default is always 90 seconds, but you can change it. You can give them as little as 15 seconds or as long as 5 minutes. Keep in mind, though, that you're going to be the one watching these videos. So if you have a classroom of 30 students and each video is 5 minutes long, that's a lot of time. Keep that in mind when you set that. I'm going to just go ahead and set it for 1 minute. Next, you have this text box. This is where you can type in a question or a prompt for students to respond to. I'm just going to keep it simple. How are you feeling this week? As you can tell, you have a little text editor here. So you can make it bold, italicize, underline, or you can even insert a link. You would just copy and paste a URL and click insert. But again, you do not have to. But please note that you do have a 500 character limit in this prompt. So it's best to keep it concise. As we scroll down, you see that Flipgrid offers these focuses to add. So they integrate with several tools that are out there. Now notice this optional here. You don't have to add something. However, one thing that would be nice is since you want your students to record themselves, you can record a video of yourselves giving the instructions or even just reading the prompt. That way your students can see or hear you giving the instructions. You can also add a YouTube video. Maybe you want them to respond to an educational or informational video. So you would upload that there. They can watch it in Flipgrid, and then their video response would be a recording of whatever prompt you had for that video. You can upload an image, add a GIF, add an emoji. For those of you who are active Newsela users, you can even link Newsela article, maybe have them read an article. And since Newsela does have that right prompt at the end, for some of our users that might need some modifications or accommodations, maybe instead of them having to type out their response to the right prompt, they can do a video recorded response to the right prompt here in Flipgrid. If you would want to add any of these, you would just click on it. So as you can see, it's giving me my options here. Be patient as it loads. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this cute little dragon. And if you don't want it, you can always delete it and re-add something because, again, this focus is optional. Okay. You want to make sure you click more options. Here you can include a topic tip to help your students best answer the topic. You can include a sentence frame perhaps, or remind them to refer to their notes or to a page number in a text that they have available to them at home or to a specific paragraph. And then below, and again, these things are optional, not mandatory. You can add some external attachments. Maybe you want to add a Google Doc with more detailed instructions or a Google slide deck with resources as well. So you can just copy and paste the URL from that resource and put it here. And this is the part where you really want to pay attention to. Video moderation by default is off, which means that they are not moderated. So as soon as a student would record their video and upload it, it would show on the Flipgrid page, which we will show you shortly. If you want them to be moderated, meaning you will have to watch them and then approve them to appear, you would toggle that on. So we're going to leave it off. The moderation feature is there and it is very handy. It's also handy if you want to keep things private between you and the individual students as well. Here you have the option to allow student-to-student replies, meaning once the video comes up, another student can watch that video and do a video reply. Again, it is up to you if you want to allow that. It would be a good way for students to practice those digital citizenship skills, being respectful and such. But again, it is up to you to leave that enabled or to turn it off. We're going to go ahead and leave it enabled so that you can see what it's like to reply to one another. Next, you have your status. It is currently active, meaning students can access this topic and add their video and reply to one another if that's on. If you freeze it, that means students will still be able to see all the videos that were added to the topic, but they will not be able to reply to another student and they will not be able to add a new video. And if you hide it, nothing will be available to them from this topic. So again, we're going to keep it active. And here you can decide when to launch it and when to freeze it if you choose to freeze it. So if you're a pre-planner and you know you want to have a Flipgrid topic every week, you can set them all up on one date and just select your dates here of when you want it to launch. And if you want it to freeze because you don't want students to add anymore, you can also select a freeze date here. So for today, we're going to add a freeze date of the 25th. Okay. And as you can see, that changed the option here on status that it's scheduled from today until tomorrow. As we scroll down, we see we have the video features. First, we have the selfies and the videos, which means students can add filters when they record. The filters are really great, as you will see shortly. There is an option to pixelate yourself like in Minecraft. So if you have those camera shy students, they can use that option. They can also add stickers and drawings and text to their videos and selfies, which are also great tools if they want to add text to explain themselves in their videos. And the selfies mean that after they record their video, they'll be able to snap a selfie of themselves. And that'll be what will show up on the topic grid. So here you can decide what you want them to do. So we're going to go ahead and leave the selfies and videos on. You can also decide whether you want students to edit their videos. So this part is really neat because if you keep that enabled, students can trim their video. So if they had like long pause at the beginning or a long pause at the end, they can trim all of that out. And this is really neat because a lot of our students really do like the video aspect of it, and it helps expose them into the different tools that they can do with video editing. Video title means that students, once they finish their video, they can add a title to their video. So it would be recommended that you keep this on because it makes it easier for you as a teacher to search through their videos. But again, up to you to turn it on or off. Attachment means that they can include an external link. For example, if they wrote or made a presentation on a book that they were reading, they would do their video recording response. And this attachment link will allow them to attach their Google slide deck or Google Doc as further evidence of their learning. So again, up to you if you want to keep this on or off. Now, with view count, we personally like to turn that off with students because sometimes it becomes a competition. So to keep it more of a safe environment for our students and lower that affective filter to not have that competition, we like to keep those off. And sticky notes, what that is when recording your video or when students record their video, they click on a notepad icon and a little post-it type icon will pop up and they can add notes that they can read from their screen while they're recording. So they don't have to have a paper next to them and have their faces looking down because they're reading the paper next to them. So this gives them that options to add like a script or notes that they want to make sure they include it, that they say verbally in their video right on the screen so they don't look away somewhere else. So we like to leave that on. And this feedback section just means how are you going to provide feedback or what feedback you're going to provide. We like to keep it on basic, but if you want to further explore and deep dive into this, you can do custom feedback and you can build and assign rubrics on how you want to assess your students with this. But again, if you haven't really tried this and you're still fairly new, we recommend to keep it basic feedback. So once you have finished adding all of those or modifying all of those settings and parameters, you want to click Create Topic. So here it's telling me that my topic is ready. So I can copy that code and share that via email, or as you can see here, I have different options. I know some people use Remind, most people use Google Classroom. So we would click Share to Google Classroom. So you'll get this pop-up, which is telling you to choose a class. So here you would select the classroom that you want to send it to. So I would select my classroom. Then here I select my action. I would make this an assignment, and then I would click Go. Then our Google Classroom screen will pop up. And for those of you familiar with Google Classroom, you need to type in the title. Optional instructions, as you can see here, the link has been included. If you have multiple classes, this is where you can select the multiple classes. But keep in mind that if you do that, if you have that one topic and you share it to all 5 or 6 periods, you're going to have all 5 or 6 periods in that one topic. So in this case, we would recommend just keeping it with the one Google Classroom. And if you would like to differentiate here, you can select some or all of your students. You can decide your point value. In this case, I'm going to leave it ungraded, as well as a due date. And again, to help keep our Google Classroom organized, we want to either put in a topic or create a new topic. So I'm going to call this one Weekly Check-ins and click Assign. So it's been posted to the classroom. So here's a Google Classroom. And as you can see, it's the first thing on the stream. LUSD Digital posted a new assignment. So students would click on it. And of course, their view would look different than this. But as a teacher, you can then see here, you might want to remind your students that after they upload their video to click Mark as Done so that you get the notification that they're done. So that's what it would look like in the Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and click All Set. So this is what it would look like when it's live. So I'm going to show you what it's like to record a response before we ask you to kindly practice that as well. Record a response. You will get a pop-up asking you for permission to use your microphone and your camera. You want to make sure to click Allow. And as you can see, Flipgrid has a few tools. Let me zoom out a little. So here at the upper right hand is telling you how much time you have left in your video. This little book here will show me the topic. So if I forgot what the prompt or the question was, I can click that and it will take me back to that. This little sticky note here, this is what I was talking about earlier, where students can type a script or their notes to read. Now this little yellow sticky will not appear in their video. This is just for them so that they can read off of that instead of like this looking down on their paper what they wrote to read. Then here you have different options. Remember we talked about the pixelation, the filters? So we know kids really love these filters, right? So they have different filters here, and we have that little pixelation, which is one of my favorites because I am camera shy. The letter A here gives students the option to add text. So if they click one, a little text box will appear, and they can add text like so. And then once they click out of it, they can move it around. This next option is allowing them to add stickers since we kept that option available. So they can add a little emoji if they want, they can resize it. If they don't want it, they can hit delete, click the option again and pick another one. So as you can see, there are several options here. You can add several stickers or accessories to their video. So again, if they're camera shy, they can add these things. Maybe I want to be an astronaut for now because the topic might deal with space. This little paintbrush allows them to draw things or even write. This board icon allows them to have a whiteboard option or a blackboard option. So as you can see now I'm gone, and it's just the option here where you can continue to add things. Maybe if they're explaining a math problem, here's an option for them. By the way, I'm totally just using my trackpad. But this is a good way for them to show their work if you want them to show their work. And then lastly, if they happen to have an image on their computer that they want to add, they would click that sticker icon and they would have to drag and drop the image here. So I'm not going to do that in that sense. So once they're ready to record, you would hit this little camera button, gives you a countdown. And this is where you can start speaking. You can read off your script and those little sticky notes and such. And I can hit pause. You know, maybe I need to gather my thoughts a little more, maybe change my script, then hit record again, and I can continue recording, as you can see. If I'm not happy with it, I can click redo, and all of this would get erased. You would start all over from scratch. But once I'm ready, I would hit this next button down here. So as you can see, it's playing it back for me, and here's the option where I could trim if I need to trim it. If I decide I need to add more because I didn't finish my thoughts, I would just click here, add more, and then it would give me the option to record more, and it would add it to the end of the video I currently have. So if I'm ready, I would click next, and this is the option to take the selfie. So again, if they want to add accessories, it's the same options they had for the video. So maybe I'll keep myself as an astronaut, pixelate myself again. I can add a few other things if I want. Then I hit the camera button, snap the picture. So as you can see, I can continue to add filters. I can add more stickers as I want. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is probably the part that students like the most, is that they can add all these things to their video. They'll probably spend more time on this than making their video itself. As you can see, it relates a lot to what the social media tools that a lot of them are already using. So once you're ready, you would click next. I don't know if you saw, but there is an option to redo the selfie. So here I would put my display name. This is where you can add a title or a hashtag. Maybe I can put weekly check-in. It's really up to you how you want your students to add that. And here they can add a link to those external sources that I was talking about. So if you want them to further demonstrate their learning, this is where they would link that Google Doc or Google slide deck that they created. Okay. When you're ready, you would click submit video. It's visible. We would hit complete. And since we did not have moderation, any videos we do will start popping up here. So we're going to ask you to go ahead and try it to record. We went ahead and added the link. That's a good question, Steph. As you can see here, it just says the name that I put, right? So if I click on it, and this is where you can start speaking. If I click on it, you can see here, the display name is down here, but my name is here at the top in bold. So their name will still be there for you as a teacher, but their nickname is what will appear on that topic grid. And you as a teacher, this is what you will see. If you want to give a video reply, you would click there. And you could just tell them, great job, or whatever feedback you want to give them. And this is where you can start. It autoplays each and every time. And so on and so forth. So it will show their actual name to you as the teacher. So we're going to give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and record your own video just so you can see what it's like as a student, to see what your students will be experiencing once you use this with your students. So as you can see, I click sign in with Google and I log in, and this is what it will look like to you. If you scroll down, you will see that green circle. Once you click on it, it'll launch the screen recorder. So just remember to allow permission for Flipgrid to use your webcam and your microphone. So there you go. I'm going to display that so that you can see the code.
That's another awesome option as well. If you happen to have your phone in front of you instead of your computer, you can also just scan that QR code and it'll take you right to the grid. It will ask you, as Sandra said, to log in with your MyLUSD credentials. If you're on a Gmail account, it won't let you, because remember when Sandra set it up, she only set it up for anybody with the mylusd.org or stu.mylusd.org. So you have to authenticate that account to get in. So this is great for privacy for your students.
Let's hope it was enough time. But as you can see here, this is what it would look like to your students. So when your students pop in, if you approved videos, if you had moderation on, or if you didn't have moderation, they would start seeing the videos pop up. So we can see some people pixelated themselves, some people added crowns, and some people didn't add anything. And as you can see, Kathleen's been busy replying, and I can tell that she replied because I see her picture at the corner of the video screens. Okay, so let's show how to do the replies again. Those of you who are still recording, we apologize. Just go ahead and hit pause so you can see how we do this. So I would click on the individual video.
Hi, everyone. So glad you could join us for the Flipgrid webinar today. Just wanted to let you know to make sure you get yourself out for a walk every day and social distance because it's important during this time. Maybe we'll see you on Thursday for our webinar on Google Forms.
Okay, so when I'm ready to reply, I would click this icon here with the 2 talking bubbles. Then my video camera will activate and I can record my reply. Countdown. That is some great advice, Kathleen. Thank you for letting people know that they should be going out for daily walks because it's important to keep that exercise up during these times. Okay, I don't need to trim it. I don't want to add anything.
That is some great.
Click next. You know, for the selfie, I'm going to go ahead and add a little sticker. Stick with, I'm going to put a phoenix over my face because I can. And I take my picture, click next. Don't close the window, otherwise it will not save. And again, I love how Flipgrid likes to celebrate that you completed something.
Hi, everyone. So glad you could join.
There it goes. So as you can see now, Kathleen has the little icon of my selfie on the corner. So that's how she knows, or I know, or anyone else knows that there's a reply there. And students will be able to continue to add videos until you either freeze it, or if you had your auto freeze date, if that goes on there. So we had this to auto freeze tomorrow. So as of tomorrow, anyone else who has this flip code up here, they can go on here and see the videos, but they will not be able to add their own or to reply to any of you. So for those of you who were able to record your video, how was it? Was it difficult? Was it doable? Yes, you can reply to each student differently. It doesn't have to be the same reply. You would just have to go through the same process of clicking that reply icon.
When I responded to everyone, I just did a quick little thanks for being here for everyone. So it's great that you can just quickly reply to the students. And I did it on my phone, so it was super quick to just bounce between each student, which is you guys, and to give you a quick response.
Did you do the same response for everybody at the same time?
Kathleen, I think that question is for you. I think she was just going back and forth to each one, because what the videos do is once you watch one and it finishes, it'll auto play to the next one.
Okay.
Correct. Thank you, Sandra. That's exactly. And like I said, I just stood in my kitchen and quickly went through them, and it was super quick. Especially since your videos, you had a short, most users were just doing a short, like I'm doing good, or I'm going stir crazy, or whatever. If you do not see your video on this screen, it's possible that your screen needs to be refreshed.
I'm refreshing.
Oh, I'm refreshing right now. So
there we go. See, we have
there's a few more showing up, and I will take a moment to respond to all of you before the day is over.
So I see some of you said that it was easy to make your video. So it's good to hear that it was easy. And Flipgrid has been used from TK all the way to college. That's one thing we didn't even give you guys an intro to Flipgrid before we started, so my apologies. But it has been used across grade levels, across ages, and across content subjects. So that's what's great about this tool, is that you can really use it with any grade and any subject. Some people have been using it in Linwood. This is actually one of the tools that we share with teachers who come to our professional developments. We like it because number one, it's free. And number two, because as we saw, it is accessible as long as they have, like as Kathleen said, she's using it from her phone because of her Wi-Fi situation with her computer. So you can use it on any device. So that's what's great about this. You can use it on a laptop, a Chromebook, a desktop, a phone, a tablet. And it doesn't have to be an iPhone. It could be an Android. It could be a Google phone. So that's another reason why we really like it. It can be used across devices. And I saw a couple of pop-ups. Some people were saying that they use it at their school site.
That is a good question. Richard asked, can parents have access for teacher messages? They would have to have okay, so there's a couple of things you can do. If you are putting out a Flipgrid that you want people to respond to, depending on how you set up your grid, you can set it up so that it's open for anyone to access. We showed you how to set it up for only access with my LUSD emails, but there are ways to change the settings so that it's open to anyone that you send it to. So if you want to send a message to parents and have parents respond to you, but you might want to be careful about how much you want to have that conversation with parents. There is a way that you can send the code to parents. I'm going to give you guys a link to the Flipgrid teacher guide. So it's in the chat. It's a PDF. So if you want to click on that and open it up and save it to your Google Drive. It is also on our digital learning notebook that we shared. It seems like it was a long time ago, but it's also in there, this Flipgrid teacher guide. So there are different features. We're just showing you the basics, but you can share a particular, go ahead, Sandra.
Yes, so thank you for that information. So as you saw, I'll show that again, and it's going to autoplay, so I'm sorry. So as a teacher, when you are here in your topic, you want to click on it. And this is where you can start. So let's say this is my student, and I want to share this response to the parent, so the parent can be looped in on what their student is doing. I would go up here. I would click share. I can copy this, and then I can email it to the parent. You can also get a QR code for them if they prefer QR codes. You can right-click to copy it or download it and send it to parents via email or Class Dojo or Remind or whatever it is that that you use to communicate with your parents. So that way the parents would have access to this one video. So as you can see, we have this link here. So if I go to the next student, let me refresh. You want to frequently refresh your topic if you have if it's currently live. So I'm going to click on Stephanie's because it's at the top.
Hi everyone.
There you go. So here I would click share for Stephanie's video, and as you can see, this link is different. So again, I would copy this entire link and share it with parents, and the parents would only have access to this specific video, not the entire topic videos.
So I think, Richard, that might be a good way to, you could just be the only video on the topic. Maybe it's just a weekly update, and then just share that particular QR code or link to an email to parents, or you could add it. I know some of you use Dojo or Remind. You could send that link out that way as well, but it would be just to your video.
Correct. And that's actually a good way to send out little messages or updates for the parents as well.
I think that we've covered everything. Any other questions anyone has about Flipgrid?
When students add a link to their presentation, can they add multiple links? I believe they can only add one external link. So if they have multiple links, a workaround would be for them to create a Google Doc and add all the links they want to add into that Google Doc, and then add that link to the Google Doc as the external link. And if you've used this already with your students, keep on using it. It's a great tool. If you are going to use this with your students for the first time, just keep it simple the first time. It'll be your first time and their first time possibly. So just keep it really simple, like a check-in, just like how we had you do, just a simple check-in. How are you feeling? I know some of the schools are doing virtual or remote Spirit Week, so maybe they can post a video of what they're wearing and why they chose to wear that, or to comment on it. So just keep it simple and keep it short the first few times so they can get the hang of it, and so you can get the hang of it before you move something else like fluency checks or book reports or language fluency for the foreign language teachers. And another good thing to add is once you move into the more curricular side of it, is definitely add those sentence frames and those sentence starters and prompts to the topic prompt. It would really help the students as they are doing their video response.
And one other thing, and I don't know if you want to show this right quick, Sandra, before everybody, is that there are grids, there are topics available in what's called the Disco Library. You guys are going to love the Disco Library. If you're looking for topics to share, there's teachers who've already shared topics. So you can search for things that already exist, and then you can completely edit them. So it really makes it easy for you if you're like, I can't think of something to share with my students. You just go to that Disco Library, and that's short for Discovery Library. And then they have tons of topics already out there, and they're building more daily. And if you come up with a cool topic, you can also submit it. But once you Once you find one, you can click on it, and then it'll allow you to set it up for to send it to your grid. And all those instructions are in the educator's guide that I shared. And so I'm going to add that again so it shows up at the bottom of the chat so that you can have quick access to it. So definitely take a look at those if you're thinking of what topic do I want to talk about, and just grab those there, and then they're completely editable once you get them. The picture is editable and the text is editable.
Correct. And as you can see, we talked about earlier how they have integrations with other tools out there. For we know one of our schools uses Tinker, so it would be interesting for that school to explore that one. We know some teachers use Epic, so definitely explore, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel. You know, if there's something already there, you would just click on it. It would pop up. If you like it, you would just select your grid and then click add. And then it opens up to those topic settings where you can change those settings and parameters as you deem necessary for your own use and for your students' use. And then we also didn't show the Immersive Reader. So the Immersive Reader is available on the student side, and it's a really neat tool that will read the topic. So as you can see, this is now the student side. We see the topic and they see this little icon here, blue icon with a book and a volume. They would click on it. The Immersive Reader would open up. They could then set any preferences if they need the text bigger or smaller. They can increase the spacing, select the font. They like different themes. They can select that as well. You can also, if you're working on grammar, highlight the nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. So it's a way to include grammar, even syllables, and determine if you want it to be read or to show line by line, like those trackers that we usually use in elementary school. And you can even translate it. So if you have any students that enroll in your classroom and don't speak the language yet, it can be translated to their home language and it'll be read to them. So this is how it would work.
If you had to put 5 items in a bag that best showcased who you are, what would they be?
So it reads it for them. It's a great accessibility tool.
You're welcome, everyone. Thank you. Don't forget to email us at digitalcoaches@mylusc.org if you need any help with any of the ed tech tools we use in Linwood.